Florida's real estate dream turns to nightmare. Is the Sunshine State's real estate dream transforming into a chilling nightmare? Across Florida, once booming cities are now grappling with surging inventory, plummeting buyer demand, and insurance premiums so astronomical they make your mortgage payment seem modest. The chilling question is, could your neighborhood be on this list? From idyllic coastal havens to bustling family suburbs, 10 key Florida cities are currently flashing the same ominous warning signs that preceded the devastating 2008 crash. But this time, the impact could be far more severe. Which communities are witnessing property values vanish, leaving homes abandoned on the market for months? In this in-depth exposé, Discover the Nation dives into 10 Florida cities that are quietly morphing into veritable ghost towns amidst 2025's escalating housing crisis.
Number 10. Port Charlotte, the lingering dream. This was once heralded as one of Florida's most overlooked havens, a perfect blend of coastal charm, affordability, and a relaxed pace. Yet in 2025, a distinctly different atmosphere has settled over this community. A casual drive through its neighborhoods instantly reveals the underlying issue: homes sitting and sitting and sitting. Port Charlotte is battling a severe affliction: skyrocketing days on market. Properties that once vanished in a week are now stagnating for 90-plus days, and the data paints a grim picture. Back in 2022, the median home price here soared to an impressive $333,242. Fast forward to today, and that figure has plummeted to a stark $285,719. That's a brutal 14.2% plunge, effectively wiping out significant equity for thousands of homeowners who bought during the pandemic boom. Many are now underwater, sparking the ominous beginnings of a negative equity crisis. The issue isn't confined to prices alone. Rows of pristine yet empty homes stand as silent monuments to this miscalculation, with some projects even abandoned mid-construction as financing dried up. Compounding this, homeowners' insurance costs have spiked to frankly insane levels. Many residents face annual premiums of $7,000 to $9,000, occasionally eclipsing their entire monthly mortgage payment. For working families and retirees, the financial equation simply no longer adds up, prompting an exodus that's fueling a slow but discernible population decline. If you're finding this deep dive into Florida's changing real estate crucial, please gently hit that subscribe button to Discover the Nation. Your support helps us bring you more vital insights like this. Port Charlotte's once vibrant real estate aspirations are increasingly resembling a ghost town in the making. Unless a fundamental shift occurs, 2025 may mark the year this sunny retreat becomes a prime example of Florida's escalating housing crisis. Number 9. Cape Coral, the golden child's fall. This city was once the undeniable golden child of Florida's housing boom in 2021 and 2022. Everyone wanted a piece of this Gulf Coast paradise: investors, retirees, remote workers. Home prices dramatically surged to a median of $424,767 in 2022 as demand exploded. But in 2025, that boom is fizzling out hard. Today's median home price has tumbled to $361,761, a steep $63,000 slide, or nearly 15% down. And remember, that's just the average. Some neighborhoods have witnessed even more drastic dips. So, what exactly happened to the Cape's hot streak? For starters, we're observing a massive investor sell-off. Many who bought at the peak are now desperately rushing to dump their properties before values fall further. Over 25% of listings are currently owned by investors or flippers trying to bail out, creating a dangerous domino effect where their price cuts force everyone else to follow suit. But that's not the only headache. Cape Coral is also grappling with an exploding housing inventory. In just 12 months, the number of available homes has almost doubled, especially in those newer developments that seem to spring up overnight. Builders severely overestimated demand, and now buyers simply aren't showing up. The result? Homes are sitting longer and prices continue to slip. Another severe problem? Soaring insurance premiums. After Hurricane Ian devastated Southwest Florida in 2022, insurance rates here went absolutely wild. Some Cape Coral homeowners now face annual payments of $6,000 to $10,000 just for insurance, truly a second mortgage for many, pushing home ownership costs beyond reach. The city's charm isn't gone, but the financial numbers are getting uglier by the month. Pending sales are collapsing at record rates, and builders are quietly canceling or pausing projects midway. When construction grinds to a halt and listings pile up, you know the market is in deep trouble. Cape Coral might still appear as a tropical dream, but beneath the swaying palm trees, it's quickly becoming one of Florida's most critical housing caution zones. At number 8, we turn our attention to Northport. This city was once the quintessential poster child of Florida's pandemic-era migration boom, attracting remote workers and retirees en masse. In 2022, home prices here soared to a jaw-dropping $379,254, making Northport one of the fastest-growing housing markets in the entire state. But just 3 short years later, in 2025, those same homes are now selling for a stark $321,224. That's a $58,000 drop, or about 15.3% less. And this isn't just a blip. It's part of a much deeper, more troubling trend. One major issue is the pervasive supply glut in new neighborhoods. Builders frantically rushed to meet perceived demand, and entire subdivisions sprang up seemingly overnight. But now, many of those homes sit empty, their for sale signs gathering dust. Overbuilding has vastly outpaced actual buyer interest, leading to a severe oversupply, which inevitably means falling prices and panicked sellers. Even worse, pending sales are collapsing left and right. Financing is becoming a nightmare, with lenders tightening their criteria, demanding higher down payments and stricter credit scores. In fact, over 30% of pending deals in Northport collapsed last quarter alone, a truly staggering figure. And we can't overlook the disturbing rise in foreclosure rates. Homeowners who bought at the peak are now struggling to keep up with payments, especially if they've been hit with skyrocketing insurance or unexpected HOA fees. Foreclosure filings in Northport have spiked by over 60% year over year, signaling serious trouble ahead. If you're finding this crucial information for understanding Florida's housing shifts, please gently hit that subscribe button to discover the nation. Your support is vital for our in-depth analyses. With so many homes sitting idle, the average days on market has nearly tripled since 2022, now taking over 90 days to sell a house here, and that number is still climbing. Northport isn't a ghost town yet, but if current trends persist, it might just become one of Florida's most dramatic housing bust stories of the decade. Number 7. Palm Bay. This was once considered an under-the-radar city where finding a nice home at a decent price was still a reality. In 2022, the median home value stood at $328,350, making it a magnet for budget-conscious Floridians. But in 2025, the narrative has shifted dramatically. Prices have dipped to $312,342. Not the biggest drop on this list, but that $15,000 slide is merely the tip of the iceberg. What's far more troubling is the hidden rot festering beneath the surface. Let's talk about the Airbnb owner exit. A significant number of investors poured into Palm Bay, hoping for lucrative short-term rental profits. However, new regulations and an oversaturated market in 2023 and 2024 triggered a major pullback. Many Airbnb hosts are now desperately dumping their properties, creating a flood of investor listings that disrupts market balance and pushes home prices even lower. Palm Bay is also being hammered by a critical price-to-rent ratio imbalance. Renters here are paying around $1,700 a month, while many homes still list for well over $300,000. That financial math simply doesn't work for new buyers or investors, especially with persistent 7 to 8% mortgage rates. When renting is significantly cheaper than owning, buyer demand tanks, and that's precisely what we're witnessing. The average home here now takes 85+ days to sell, a significant jump from just 30 days in 2022. Fewer buyers, tougher loans, more market stagnation. And then there's the weakening rental market itself. Unlike still booming cities where rents continue to climb, Palm Bay rents have plateaued, with some landlords even slashing prices just to fill vacant units. That's another undeniable signal this market is rapidly cooling. If you're finding this vital information helpful for your understanding of current market dynamics, please gently hit that subscribe button to discover the nation. Your support helps us continue these in-depth analyses. Palm Bay hasn't fully crashed yet, but its foundation is clearly cracking, plagued by weakening investor confidence, overpriced listings, and a dwindling pool of qualified buyers.
Number 6. Port St. Lucie, the stalling engine. This city has long been celebrated as one of Florida's most appealing family-friendly destinations, safe, clean, and growing at an incredible pace. So fast, in fact, that home prices exploded to $405,100 in 2022. But now in 2025, we're seeing those prices slide back down to $375,513, a $29,497 drop, or just over 7%. On the surface, this might not seem catastrophic, but dig a little deeper and the cracks are showing fast. The first major issue is collapsing buyer demand. Interest from out-of-state buyers, which significantly fueled much of Port St. Lucie's pandemic-era boom, has all but dried up. With higher mortgage rates and fewer people relocating, the once red-hot bidding wars are a distant memory. Now sellers are forced to offer concessions, rate buydowns, and aggressive price cuts just to get a showing. There's also a pervasive pending sales collapse. Last year, nearly 1 in 3 pending sales in the city fell through, whether due to financing problems, low appraisals, or simply cold feet from buyers. That's a clear and concerning sign of a shaky market. Buyers are either nervous or fundamentally unable to secure funding. Then there's the surging HOA fees. Many neighborhoods here, particularly newer developments, saw their HOA costs rise dramatically to cover soaring insurance, maintenance, and storm-related upgrades. In some communities, fees jump from $80 to $200+ a month, and residents are feeling a severe pinch. While homes are still selling, they're taking significantly longer. Days on market has increased from about 24 days in 2022 to over 65 days in 2025. Port St. Lucie isn't in freefall, but it's slowing fast. The demand engine that once drove growth here is stalling, and unless interest rates fall or local job growth spikes, this could be the start of a much steeper slide. Number 5. Poinciana, where insurance trumps mortgage. If Port St. Lucie is tapping the brakes, Poinciana is already skidding. This once affordable suburban haven southwest of Kissimmee was a magnet for first-time buyers and working families seeking a slice of the American dream. But that dream is now visibly cracking. In 2022, the median home price hit $322,450. By 2025, it's down to $290,655, marking a sharp 9.7% decline. And that's only part of the story. The biggest red flag here? Insurance costs exceeding mortgage payments. Seriously, some homeowners are now paying $500 to $800 a month in property insurance alone, especially in zones flagged for high flood or storm risk. When that insurance bill jumps higher than your actual mortgage payment, it's no wonder people are walking away. This nightmare scenario is creating a rental market weakness domino effect. Investors who plan to rent these homes out are finding it increasingly difficult to turn a profit. Rents haven't kept pace with soaring costs, and vacancies are creeping up. Some landlords are now offering first-month free deals or dropping prices altogether to fill units. Poinciana is also facing declining property tax assessments, a rare but telling sign. Local governments are actually adjusting tax rolls downward because home values are undeniably shrinking. Many communities are issuing special assessments in the thousands of dollars, leaving homeowners scrambling to pay or risking liens on their properties. If you're gaining crucial insights into these vulnerable markets, please gently hit that subscribe button to discover the nation. Your support powers our in-depth investigations. Poinciana's affordability used to be its biggest strength, but in 2025, the costs of owning are vastly outpacing the benefits, and the signs of decay are mounting.
Number 4. Deltona, the quiet suburbs exodus. This used to be that quiet, low-key suburb where you could actually afford a house and still be close to Orlando's action in Daytona's beaches. But in 2025, Deltona is flashing serious warning signs. Back in 2022, the average home here sold for $340,178. Fast forward to today, and that number has plunged to $298,655, a sharp $41,500 loss, or roughly 12.2% down in just 3 years. So what's fueling this dramatic slide? One major factor: population decline. Yes, the very families that once filled up these neighborhoods are now leaving. Why? Because the costs of staying simply no longer make sense. We're talking about insurance premiums ballooning past $6,000 a year, plus HOA fees jumping by 40% or more in many subdivisions. When the population shrinks, so does demand. Homes that once received multiple offers are now sitting with 0 showings for weeks. The average days on market has doubled from 30 days in 2022 to over 75 days now. That's not just a slowdown, that's a full-blown stall. The investor sell-off here is very real too. Add to that pending sales falling through, with 1 in 4 deals failing in Q1 of 2025 alone, and you've got a housing market on exceptionally shaky legs. Deltona may still look picture-perfect on the outside, but behind those for sale signs and shuttered windows, the market is telling a very different story. If you're finding this crucial information for understanding Florida's market risks, please gently hit that subscribe button to Discover the Nation. Your support powers our in-depth investigations. If current trends continue, this city might just become Central Florida's most unexpected real estate cautionary tale. At number 3, Ocala, the rural dream fades. We head to Ocala, the place where wide-open land, equestrian farms, and affordable homes once defined Florida's rural escape dream. But now, in 2025, that dream is hitting some serious potholes. In 2022, the median home price in Ocala stood at $280,100. Today, that number has dropped to $255,510, or a $24,500 dip, or almost 9% off the peak. It may not sound apocalyptic at first glance, but it's the alarming surrounding symptoms that make this drop much more serious. The biggest issue right now: soaring insurance premiums. Homeowners in Marion County are seeing policy costs double or even triple. A typical $2,000 annual premium in 2022 is now topping $5,500 to $6,000, especially for older homes or those outside city limits. For many residents, that alone pushes total monthly housing costs beyond affordability. Ocala is also dealing with a quiet but deadly market indicator: canceled construction projects. Builders who once saw Ocala as the next boomtown are now slamming on the brakes. Multiple new home communities have paused midway through development, citing buyer pullback and higher material costs. Empty lots and half-built homes are scattered across the city's outskirts. The skyrocketing days on market isn't helping either. In 2022, homes sold like hotcakes. Now the average sits at 80-plus days and rising. Buyers are hesitating, hoping for more price drops, while sellers are getting anxious, cutting prices and throwing in incentives just to get someone to bite. And then we've got declining property tax assessments. This is a major red flag. Ocala may still have horse farms and natural springs, but its housing market is visibly limping. The rural charm is still there, but the financial foundation is starting to buckle. If costs keep rising while demand continues to fall, Ocala could be next on Florida's growing list of ghost town candidates.
Number 2, we revisit Tampa. This city was once the rock star of Florida's real estate scene, fast-growing, full of jobs, and absolutely booming in the early 2020s. In 2022, the average home in Tampa cost $383,410. But in 2025, that price has dipped to $360,130, a slide of over $23,000. That might not sound huge, but in a high-growth metro like Tampa, it's raising serious eyebrows. The red flag waving hardest is exploding housing inventory. The number of active listings in Tampa has jumped by more than 55% since last year alone. Homes that once sold in under 2 weeks are now sitting for 75 to 90 days, with price cuts becoming the norm. Sellers are slashing prices by $10,000 to $20,000 just to stay competitive. And then there's the critical issue of buyer financing. With mortgage rates hovering around 7.5%, many first-time buyers are getting priced out or rejected outright. It's no surprise that pending sales fell by 28% in Q1 of 2025, a scary statistic for a city that relied heavily on fast closings and investor activity. Add in the rampant investor sell-off, especially in once popular short-term rental zones, and you've got a market that's not just cooling, it's starting to crack. Airbnb hosts are bailing, long-term landlords are struggling to break even, and vacant properties are piling up. If you're finding this crucial information for understanding current market trends, please gently hit that subscribe button to Discover the Nation. Your support helps us continue these in-depth analyses. Tampa is still a beautiful place to live, but from a housing standpoint, the heat wave is definitely over. Without a drastic shift in buyer confidence or interest rates, Tampa might be on track to become one of the biggest housing correction stories in Florida. Finally, at number 1, we have Winter Haven. This used to be one of those cozy Central Florida cities that quietly grew into a housing favorite. It offered affordable homes, lakeside living, and just enough distance from the chaos of Orlando. In 2022, homes averaged $300,205, but now, in 2025, that number has fallen to $275,513, a $24,692 drop, or roughly 8.2% decline. But it's not just prices falling, it's the entire foundation shaking. This city is flashing multiple housing crash indicators, and fast. First up, insurance premiums exceeding mortgage payments. Some homeowners here are paying $600 to $800 monthly for insurance alone, especially those near lakes or in older constructions. That's more than what they're paying in principal and interest combined. Then there's the population slowdown. For the first time in decades, Winter Haven saw a net outflow of residents in 2024. People are moving out, citing unaffordable living costs and insurance nightmares, turning once busy neighborhoods into eerily quiet streets. And don't overlook the supply glut in new developments. Builders went wild here in 2021 to 2022, betting big on incoming demand. But now many homes in these shiny new subdivisions are sitting vacant. Some builders are offering $20,000 discounts, free upgrades, and cash incentives just to move inventory. Buyers are backing out, financing deals are crumbling, and special assessments for storm damage repairs are hitting homeowners like a truck. It's gotten so bad, some properties are being listed below 2020 prices just to attract offers. If you're finding this crucial information about market risks, please gently hit that subscribe button to Discover the Nation. Your support powers our in-depth investigations. Winter Haven may still be the chain of Lake City, but its housing market in 2025 is a chain reaction of warning signs. Unless Florida's economy or housing policy makes a dramatic shift, Winter Haven could truly become ground zero for the state's next big housing bust. Final thoughts. The message is clear. Florida's real estate landscape is shifting dramatically. Stay informed, stay vigilant.